we're delighted to welcome former Tory MP, and he's seen the light. He's with Reform, Marco Longhi. A very good afternoon, sir. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Jeremy. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm on one this afternoon because that two-faced, hypocritical disgrace of a human being that they call Keir Starmer, our Prime Minister, has been caught with his trousers down again. We can talk about Brexit and you on till the cows come home, Marco, but this is unbelievable. Breaking lockdown rules, hiring a voice coach, and what about the results? He still sounds like a robot with the personality of a dustbin, doesn't he?
Yes, well, I mean, what can we say about Keir Starmer? I posted something just yesterday that he'd sent out, which was to say that his number one priority is to keep the people of this country safe. So I said something on Twitter and it's gone absolutely viral because he was one of the signatories to that letter, if you remember, to ground 50 Jamaican criminals, rapists, drug barons, whatever.
Yeah.
And a number of those went on to commit crimes because, you know, he obviously lent his human rights law expertise and got the plane grounded. You know, another one of those conservative defeats, I'm afraid.
In terms of you personally, I haven't had a chance to ask you this, but I'm interested, my friend. I freely admitted on this show, and will continue to admit it, that I was brought up in a Tory household. Tory values to me were low taxation, secure borders, a strong military, not a fear of crime, but actually policemen and women on the streets. The law and order was in place. And then we got towards obviously the election, and Reform started speaking the language that I was used to, but they were called far right. You moved from the Tories to Reform. Has it been like a breath of fresh air, being able to speak your mind and talk common sense, my friend?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the last 4 years have been, you know, it's been a death by 1,000 cuts in so many different ways. You know, like you're brought up in a household where, you know, that kind of language made sense to you all your life. And then you had this wonderful opportunity to represent your, you know, constituency and your country. In 2019 came up, and I was very grateful for that opportunity. But decision after decision was just so unconservative, in my opinion. And I'd seen the rot start a number of years before, you know, with the Conservative Party when they set something up called a A-list in the selection of candidates. And I do blame the selection of candidates a lot for what's happened in the Conservative Party, because if you look at the number of MPs that make up Parliament now, I would say that two-thirds of them are probably what I would describe probably more of a Liberal Democrat or Social Democratic Party bent. And this is going to be a major problem for Kemi to sort out. I hope she does, because I think it'll be good for the country to have a solid right of centre government one day. But
government one day, but you're hold on a minute. Government one day. You're in Reform now. The Tories are never coming back. Reform are going to form the next government, aren't they, Marco?
Oh, absolutely. No, I completely agree with that, of course. But what I'm trying to say is that you know, the Conservative Party left me. I have not changed in any way.
Yeah, good point.
I would absolutely identify so much more with Reform, and I stayed loyal to the party in the ups and downs. If you think about when your football team is going through a very bad moment.
Hold on a second. Ryan can identify with that. He's a Watford fan. There we go. Yeah, that's good.
Well, quite. But I mean, if you supported West Brom, you don't jump over to Aston Villa, and likewise when things are going very badly. So I've stayed with the Conservative Party over decades, through thick and thin. But this, you know, a million immigration last year, it's a betrayal of gargantuan proportions. And 4 times the country went to the polls in one way or another. And you know, people, conservative leaders made, you know, gave a narrative which was, we are going to deal with this. We promise we will deal with this. And they didn't. In fact, they did the exact opposite. And I just can't look, you know, the electorate in the eye, the good people of Dudley at the time, you know, saying, Marco, on the doorstep, we really like you, Marco. But if I vote for you, it's a vote for the Conservative Party.
Are you going to,
for Rishi. I can't do that.
Marco, are you going to stand for Reform?
Well, I hope so. That is a decision that is not in my hands. I will put myself forwards, and if I am selected, it would be the greatest honour of my life again to represent the good people of Dudley. The Black Country people are salt of the earth. That's what I consider myself.
I'm not sure you're allowed to.
And
I'm not trying to make this light-hearted, but having dealt with the government last week, where they banned certain words, including blacklist, I don't think you'll be able to call a yum yum from a black country anymore. Very quickly, my friend, the big serious news story of the day: Starmer seeking to reset Brexit. Everything that a lot of people voted for being thrown back in their faces. Suffering businesses will face higher costs as he continues to plough towards this closer relationship. And in layperson's terms, that's not going to do us a great favour, is it, with the United States of America, who finally got a man in charge, like him or loathe him, who's speaking the language of what people want to hear.
correct. And so where the failure of the previous Conservative government, again, another failure, was to deliver on the benefits of Brexit. So Brexit gave us the tools to deliver on a number of things, and it just patently failed along the way. That was another reason why I actually said, this just cannot go on. Brexit was one of the main reasons that kept me in politics. But as far as Starmer is concerned, he will say, oh, no, we are not rejoining the EU, but he's misleading people, because I quite accept that he might not get to the point of a formal reintroduction into the EU as a member of that organization, of that political dinosaur, horrible conglomerate that it's become. But actually, he will do a number of bilateral deals, as is being talked about, with the students' visas for people under 30 coming over. That'll be free movement again for people. And what do we know about a lot of students? And even Suella talked about it in Parliament, in the chamber. Some of the biggest numbers coming in for illegal immigration are students who come in on fake courses, or they might stay on a course for a few weeks, or stay for the duration of the visa, but then they overstay. So that's a huge, huge problem. So how can we be confident at all that if any students from maybe the countries like Bulgaria or Romania can come in, maybe some 29-year-olds pretending to be 19 and wanting to start education all over again, and then just simply disappear, because that's what's happening.
Marco, I don't want to stop you, but I have to, my friend. You've hit the clock. We really appreciate it. Marco Longhi, ex-Tory MP for Dudley, has joined Reform, hoping to be selected, and talking about how Starmer, the boring man, the son of a toolmaker, is apparently forging closer links with Europe.